Hello everyone, my name is Aastha. I welcome you all to our classes for IEO for class 9th. This is our 9th class wherein what we are going to do is learn about the concept of nouns. We will be doing the various categories and the nominalization as well. So all these concepts, make sure you write them down and make notes. Let's get started.
So now our question is, the first and foremost question that we ask ourselves is, what are nouns? हमें किसी भी टॉपिक को समझने के लिए पहले ये अंडरस्टैंड करना पड़ता है कि उस टाइटल का एग्जैक्टली मतलब क्या है. पहले हम इसका मीनिंग करेंगे और मीनिंग को बेटर अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए उसके एग्जाम्पल से समझेंगे और फिर हमें एकदम कंप्लीट क्लैरिटी आ जाएगी जब हम इसके क्विज को अटेम्प्ट करेंगे. ऑलराइट, so here we go. Noun is nothing but any person, place, thing or animal. Alright, all these things, all of them are nouns. Person, जैसे you and me, जैसे your brother, your mother, your teacher, all the persons, they are nouns. Place, for example, Delhi, India, Australia or Mumbai. All these places are nouns. Then things could be, say, this laptop, things could be a pen, things could be a charger, things could be some food, for example, apple. All these things are also nouns. Alright. Then animals, so we know dogs, cats, giraffe, and say snake and squirrels. All these birds and animals, all of them are nouns as well. So noun की basic meaning we have to know, which is any, this means any person, any place, anything or an animal, any animal. So a noun refers to any person, place, thing or animal. Alright. Well, now that we have understood what exactly nouns are, okay, noun is person, place, animal, thing. So now we will do what are the types of nouns. Nouns में various types होते हैं and we will study each of them with their certain examples and then we will apply them to the questions. So what are the various types of nouns? Okay, so the first category is common nouns. What are common nouns, you see? Common noun is used to name general things, places, ideas, events or people. Now these are the things which a noun also is. But what is so special about common nouns? Common noun names these things in general. Alright, when we are talking about any of these things in general, alright, they are general names, then that is referred to as common nouns. Once we will see the examples, it will be clearer to you. Just have to remember and understand that common nouns are used for general things, places, events, ideas or people. Alright. Next we have proper nouns. Now these proper nouns, they names a specific person, place or thing. So again, As common nouns, they talked about general things or persons or places. Here, proper noun, the important part is it talks about these things in specific. Alright, in specific. Like here, and it is also important to know that a proper noun always begins with a capital letter. Like my name Aastha. It is a proper noun. Why? Because we are naming a specific person. Alright, so my name starts with a capital letter and it is a proper noun. Alright. Right, so here we will be taking up the examples of common noun and proper noun together. Like here you see, in the first picture, what are we talking about? We are talking about certain fruits. So we are naming these things in general or specific. We are talking about them in a general manner. So these are fruits is a common noun. But here when we are talking about the fruit in specific, a specific fruit which is what? Watermelon. So it becomes a proper noun. Alright. So this is the broad difference between common noun and proper noun. That common noun is used to name things or people or places in a general manner, whereas proper noun is used to refer to them in a specific manner. Alright. Okay. So let's take a few more examples. Okay, so here we have this table again. Let's see. We have to see common nouns and proper nouns. Here you see coach. Now when we are referring to coach, we are referring to a person in general or specific. We are talking in general, like a coach can be any person. But when we say Coach Martin, this one means that we are talking about a proper noun, talking about a person specifically, right? Then we have teacher. Similarly, this is a common noun. Here this is a list of common people basically. Coach, teacher, here we have soldier again, dentist, waiter. But when we name them specifically, like here Miss Johnson, Corporal Daniels, Dr. Hughes, Scott. So when we name these people specifically, it becomes a proper noun. And again here we have common nouns of places like school, government, store, amusement park, beach. But when you're referring to a specific beach, this becomes Whitehaven Beach. Then when we talk about an amusement park specifically, it's the Disney World. Then we're talking about a store specifically like Target or any other store. Right, so similarly, these are proper nouns. Why? Because we're talking about the place specifically. Here, okay, we have common nouns of things. For example, like painting, like a river, ocean, planet, game. But when we are talking about some painting specifically, that specific painting, Mona Lisa, this becomes a proper noun. Mississippi River, the Pacific Ocean, Earth, the game Monopoly. Right here you see we're talking about them in a specific manner, so they become proper nouns. These are proper nouns. Alright. So here we see this is a group of boys. Okay. And next, here we see there's a single boy. Now there's a group of boys and I want to ask you, who's your best friend? Then you name somebody. For example, let's see. Now these boys would be a common noun. Why? Because as we discussed, common nouns, they talk about general people, general things, general general terms में जो बात होती है, so boys. They could be, and when we're talking about one specific one out of these, for example, who's your best friend, you'd say Ali. So Ali would be a proper noun क्योंकि हम एक specifically एक boy की बात कर रहे हैं, okay? This particular boy we are talking about, that is a proper noun. All right. All right, here you have again a few more examples like firefighter. If you refer to firefighter is a person specifically or generally. Here we are talking about firefighter in a general manner. But when we talk about Captain James, then we are talking about Captain James specifically. Then suppose when we say husband, we're not telling about someone's husband in particular, right? But when we name that person, that becomes specific. Right. Similarly, we have wife, Alicia, Queen, Queen Elizabeth. So these are common nouns of persons. These are proper nouns. Then again, we have a few places like island, airport, palace, building. And these can be said specifically in terms of proper nouns like Hawaii, Kennedy Airport, Buckingham Palace, or White House. Alright, so the broad difference that I have been trying to tell you is that common nouns are the places, the persons, the things in general, whereas the proper nouns are the persons, the things, or places in a specific manner. Alright. Alright, so here we have another category of nouns. These are called abstract nouns. What are abstract nouns? The ones which have no physical existence. Okay. What do we mean by them not having physical existence is they refer to certain ideas or emotions or concepts that you cannot see, cannot touch, cannot hear, cannot smell or taste. Okay, so these are those nouns which do not have any physical existence. They are, what do we say, intangible in nature. You cannot really touch them or smell them or taste them. All right, we will see the examples and it will be a bit clearer to you. Now we have a few examples of abstract nouns. Here what you have to notice here is that all of them, none of them can be seen or touched or heard or smelled. All these have no physical existence, like ability, adoration, advantage, adventure, amazement, anger. Now you may see, we can sense when somebody is angry, right? When their face shows, like there's this emoji over here as well. But anger is something that has no physical existence. You cannot touch anger, you cannot taste anger, you cannot smell anger, right? So that's why all of these are abstract nouns. They have no physical existence. Annoyance, anxiety, awareness about something, beauty, and compassion, and confidence, confusion, curiosity, death, dedication, defeat, delay, dishonesty, divorce, friendship, the example that we saw, generation, goal, gossip, growth, happiness. Now when somebody asks you how happy you are, you cannot really measure it and say. There is no unit for measurement. There is no unit for, your growth, your emotional growth. And there is no measurement for somebody's hate. You can You can just sense it and just say that you know, I am very happy, or I'm very scared and I have a lot of hope, for example, or I'm horrified. And similarly for life, it has no physical existence, cannot be smelt or touched. Loneliness, loss, love, luck, luxury, right? Here we are not talking about the luxurious things. Mind you, you have to be very careful here. When we start talking about luxurious things, for example, if we talk about a mansion or a bungalow, now that becomes another category of nouns. That is not an abstract noun, because that is something that can be touched. It can be seen. Now, if you're talking about a big house, or you're talking about an expensive car, that car can be touched, it can be seen, it can be felt, and it can be heard as well. But luxury is something that you feel. Luxury is a form of life, and that you live. All right. Similarly for maturity, mercy. Mercy means forgiving someone, giving them mercy. Movement, needing something, need, right, rumor, sacrifice, satisfaction, self-control, service, shock, silliness, skill, and sleep. So let's move on. I have a few more examples as well. These are pretty easy. You know, you should pause the video and have a look at them for yourselves and give a read. I'll just quickly read them for you. Belief, bravery, brilliance, calm, care, chaos, charity, childhood. We took this example, remember? Clarity, coldness, comfort, dream. Dreams have no physical existence. Education, elegance, envy, evil, failure, faith, fascination, fear, fiction, freedom, hurt, idea. We took this example. Infancy. Infancy is the infant stage, when you're very young, only a few months or a few years old. Then that's infancy. And inflation refers to the rising prices. Suppose there's a particular car which was for 10 lakhs last year, and now this year it is for say 12 lakhs. So now that car has inflated, rising prices. Then intelligence, irritation, joy, justice, kindness, liberty, lie, opinion, opportunity, pain, patience, peace, pleasure, power, pride, relief, riches, sorrow, success, surprise, talent, trend, trust, victory, weakness, wealth, wisdom, worry. So let's move on. So now we have done 3 categories of nouns. Okay, first was the proper nouns, second was the common nouns, now and the third was the abstract nouns. Now we are moving on to the 4th category of nouns, which is collective nouns. Now collective, as its name suggests, what is in the name? Collective. Collective can be can be a synonym of collection. You know, collection means group. So the group of people, animal or things, that is a collective noun. All right, we will give you examples and then we will understand it better. Right now, what you have to understand is a group of people, animal or things that is referred to as collective nouns. All right. So how do we form them? How do we form collective nouns? This is the formation. Collective noun plus of plus the plural noun. Whatever noun we have, उसकी plural form यहाँ पर आएगी and उसका जो collective noun होगा, which we will study now, collective noun plus of plus plural noun. You should write down this formation and we will see this in the upcoming slides. Okay, here collective nouns of people we are talking about first. For example, if we have certain Morris dancers, we say a side. What is the collective noun here? Side. A side of Morris dancers. If we have pipers, we say a skull of pipers. Right? There are certain candidates for certain job or something, some opportunity. So we don't say a group of candidates. Rather, a group of candidates is called a slate of candidates. Models, we say a slouch of models. A Sodom of shepherds. Squeal of nieces. Staff of employees. Staff of servants as well. Stock of foresters. Superfluity of nuns. Tabernacle of bakers. Tantrum of decorators. Team of athletes. And a team of players. A tribe of Indians. A troop of acrobats. A troop of performers. Females के लिए भी say a troop of females and a troop of males. Alright, this one was for people. Now next. Like for sea animals, here you see, we say a bind of salmon, a company of angelfish, a family of sardines, a fleet of bass, a float of tuna fish, a flotilla of swordfish, a glint of goldfish, a herd of seahorses. Next. We have sea animals here as well. A party of rainbow fish, a school of cod, a shiver of sharks, a shoal of fish, a troop of shrimp, a swarm of dragonet fish, a squad of skid, a shoal of mackerel. Now you don't have to worry, you don't have to remember all these by heart. Once you will see the questions, जो हम end में quiz करेंगे, जब आप वो questions पढ़ लेंगे, समझ लेंगे, तो there will be only a few जो आपको याद रखने होंगे. In fact, आपको याद रखने की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है, यहाँ पे रट्टे नहीं मारने होंगे. You don't have to rote learn all this. आप once you solve a few questions and if you continue reading and being involved in the language, तो जो थोड़े से कॉमन है ना, ये द कॉमन कलेक्टिव नाउन्स, वो आपको anyway याद ही रहेंगे. So these are just for your reference. For example, some sort of question comes and you don't, so these are just for your reference. आप इससे अपनी vocabulary बढ़ा सकते हैं. I'm just giving you examples. So now a few more. Here we have for birds. All right. We will do only a few important ones. For example, you see a brood of chickens, and for the hen also we say the same, a brood of hens. And for penguins we call it a colony, and for vultures again we call it a colony. For parrots we call it a company. Now you see, हमने formation कैसे करी थी? Formation we said the collective noun plus of plus the plural form. Right, so here is the plural form. For example, if you see of eagles, eagle ki plural form is eagles and convocation is the common noun. So common noun plus of plus the plural form. So convocation of eagles. Alright. Here again we have a few more collective nouns for birds. A flight of birds is the most common. You should remember this one. And you remember for crows also, murder of crows. And this one a host of sparrows. And a stand of flamingos. And a pride of ostriches as well. And you see this is quite funny. For a group of owls we call it a parliament of owls. Now for amphibians, reptiles, invertebrates, insects. Now for the collective nouns, there is no limit. In fact, for nouns only, there is no limit for giving you examples. After all, what we did, what are nouns? Nouns are a noun refers to any person, place, animal, or thing. Right? Now there are so many people. There are so many places, there are so many animals and there are so many things. अब हम सारे examples नहीं कर सकते हैं. Right? So I'm just giving you a few of them just for your reference. For example here, frogs one. An army of frogs. For dinosaurs, we call it a herd. Alright. The snakes, we call it a den. For crocodiles, we call it a bask. इसमें formation you remember the collective noun plus of plus the plural form of the noun. Now next. Here are a few more. You see a bale of turtles, a culture of bacteria, army of caterpillars, flight of butterflies, colony of ants, swarm of bees, and a clutter of spiders. Now for mammals, these are a few interesting ones. For example, a colony of rabbits, colony of rats, colony of seals. Then for pigs, we call it a sounder of pigs. For cows, it's a flink. For deer, it's a herd. And for donkeys as well, and for bisons as well, it's a herd. And for lambs, it's a foal. For race horses, it's a field of race horses. These are a few more. We have elephants, we have heard again. We have a pack of dogs, a pack of wolves, and a sloth of bears, troop of goats, troop of monkeys. You must have heard about this. Now you see a few common ones you must already know. You just won't have known कि इन्हें हम collective nouns कहते हैं. वरना जैसे a pack of wolves, a pack of dogs, ये सब you must have heard in some of the movies, or you must have read somewhere, right? Now next. Another one we have for things, like a pile of money, a deck of cards, a bunch of keys, and a fleet of ships, fleet of vehicles, chest of drawers, pair of shoes, library of books, roll of film, set of tools, album of photographs. You must already know that photographs ka jo group hai, we call that an album. Alright, so most of them are very common and you must already know. You would have known, I think. Now next. Okay, so now we are done with the abstract nouns. We have done 4 categories of nouns: proper nouns, common nouns, and abstract nouns, and collective nouns. Now we are moving towards our 5th category of nouns. Okay, this is pretty simple. Here you see, now there are 2 different words. One is a cup and the other is a cake. Both of them are absolutely 2 different things. But if we combine those 2 words, we can form another completely new word, which is a cupcake, right? Similarly here, butter, a completely different word, fly, a different word. But when we form them together, we again form a new word, which is what? Butterfly. Butterfly has no connection with butter or fly. It's an absolutely new word, which is a butterfly. Similarly here, sun plus flower makes a sunflower. And book and shelf makes a bookshelf. So these kind of words, they are called compound nouns. So what are compound nouns? When there are 2 words which are formed to make an absolutely new and different word. That is the compound noun. We have a few more examples like pop plus corn makes popcorn, foot and ball makes a football, rain and bow makes a rainbow, moon and light makes a moonlight. Alright? These are also what? These are also compound nouns. Now here are again, I have given a few examples for you to understand better. I'll just quickly read them. Shoebox and butterfly and star and fish, starfish, ear and ring, earring, hair and brush, hairbrush, hand and bag makes a handbag, wheel and chair. 2 different words make an absolutely new wheelchair. Straw is different, berries are different. Together they make strawberries. Now the next one, another few for you to go through. Pan and cake makes a pancake. Rain and bow. Bow is kind of an accessory. Rain and bow makes a rainbow. Grass alag hota hai and hopper alag hota hai. But both of them when combined together make grasshopper. Similarly for jelly beans and similarly for bathtub. Okay, so here we are going to do a small topic but important one. One more category we have is of countable and uncountable nouns. Okay, now as its name suggests, it is pretty easy to understand also. Countable nouns are the ones which we can count using numbers. Alright, and the uncountable nouns are for things that we cannot count using numbers. Alright, and these countable nouns can be singular or plural. And here we can use a or an for their singular form. But here it is difficult to tell for the countable nouns. It is difficult to tell whether they are singular or plural. They might be some ideas or some abstract things. Let's see the examples. Here, for example, I have a big house. Like a big house. Now, house is countable. कि एक घर है, 2 घर हैं, 10 घर हैं. They can be counted, right? So it is a countable noun. Then brothers, she has two brothers. So this is also countable, right? But here, when we see uncountable nouns, we see ideas and things like knowledge, air, fear. So these kind of things, they cannot really be counted. That's why we call them uncountable nouns. Alright, so in addition to the category of nouns we have done, this is also important, but this is pretty easy to understand, right? Countable and uncountable. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we have this sort of subtopic for nouns, which is nominalization. What happens in nominalization is we either conversion of a verb or an adjective or verb or adjective mostly to a noun. Okay, so how do you form a verb? How do you form a noun from the other grammar topics like verbs and adjectives? Now for this there is no single rule. However, there could be different categories like either adding a prefix or suffix, or adding an article, or adding a possessive, which we will see in the further slides. Okay, all you have to know is nominalization is what? Conversion of a verb or an adjective to a noun. All right. Just the basics. Now the first one is like adding a suffix. Suffix is what? Something that you add at the end. Like act is a verb, block is a verb, run is a verb. In them you add a suffix to form a noun. Like act becomes action, block becomes blockade, run becomes runner. Alright, that's nominalization of nouns. Okay, now here we have different forms of suffix which could be added to a verb or an adjective to form a noun. Like here we could add NESS to form nouns from adjectives. Like sad is an adjective, gets converted to sadness. The closure of the post office brought sadness to the community. So sad is an adjective, when we add NESS, becomes a noun, sadness. Then next up, adding ITY, the suffix to form noun from adjectives. Adjective here is hilarious. Now hilarious, we add ity, it becomes hilarity. They reacted to the joke with much hilarity. Alright, this is another form of suffix. Another form could be ance or ence, form a noun from adjective or verb. Like here we have important. Important is an adjective. Here we convert this to importance. Never underestimate the importance of studying. Right. Okay, another category could be adding ment to form nouns from adjectives or verbs. Like merry. Merry is a verb and actually could be an adjective as well. We add ment and this becomes merriment. The children found a lot of merriment in the clown's antics. Alright, then we could add tion or sion to form nouns from verbs. Like multiply. Multiply becomes multiplication. Like how? I like addition and subtraction, but multiplication is difficult. So we add tion. Then here we have admit. For admit, we add sion, the suffix. The criminal's admission of guilt got him in trouble. Alright. Then we have ship. We could use ship or hood to form nouns from other nouns themselves. Like partner. Partner is a noun in itself, but we could add ship and create another noun which is partnership. Then we have another one which is neighbor. Neighbor is a noun again in itself, and we could change it to a neighborhood. Our neighborhood is thankfully very quiet. Alright, so these are the various suffixes which we could add. Okay, another option is to just add an article. Now if we just say run, now run is a verb. But if we are talking about a particular run, it could be a noun if we add an article to it, like a run or the run. Similar for act. Now act otherwise is a verb, but we could add an article to it and it does the job of a noun then. Another thing we could do is add a possessive. How? Like here, daily routine, her daily routine, going for my walk. So, when we add possessives like me, like my, your, her, his, then it becomes a noun. Alright. These are the various rules that we could follow for nominalization. Alright, now another category or another sort of questions which would come are forming the possessive form of nouns. How do we do that? That we'll study, but first of all knowing what is the possessive form. Now this possessive form of noun is used with nouns referring to people, groups of people, countries and animals. And what does it do? It shows a relationship of belonging between one thing and the other. Shows sort of possession and belongingness. Alright, let's see how. So here, how do we form them? How do we form the possessive of nouns? To form the possessive, we add apostrophe and s to the noun. If the noun is plural or already ends in s, then just add an apostrophe after s. Okay, pretty easy. Here, like we studied, just adding an apostrophe and an s. Like here, my uncle's house. And clothes for my sister could be called my sister's clothes. Apostrophe and s. Alright, pretty easy. And here, if the noun already ends in s or is plural, then after this s, you add an apostrophe. Like shop of Smiths, that's Smith's shops. Job of Manas, Manas' job. Day for children, children's day. And the day for teachers, teachers' day. Alright, so s and apostrophe. Now, it's time for a quiz. We will do the sample questions of IEO and understand each question and try to find their answers. This will be like a practice for you. This will be like a mock exam for you. Alright, so for the quiz, what we will be doing is, now every question you will be given 1 minute. 1 minute means 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 1 minute? Because you see, your question paper of IEO, it has about 50 questions, and so you can imagine that you get more or less a minute to answer the questions. Now this 1 minute is the maximum that you should be taking for answering the question. Now suppose there could be two, three categories of students. First category is, suppose you answer the question within that 1 minute. So I would request you to fast forward the video and skip right to the answer. You should not be wasting your time. Alright. Now the other students who are not able to answer the question in 1 minute, what you do, you don't skip to the answer. You pause the video and you write down your answer. Alright, it is very important to answer each and every question because there is no negative marking. Here you see, for every incorrect answer, no points, because there is no negative marking in IEO. So it is important that you attempt all the questions. Now for a question of which you are not sure about the answer. Now even here and even in the exam, if you are not sure about the answer and you maybe think that B option might be correct or C option might be correct, so you should in that case play your luck and play your mind and make a guess and still give an answer, because it is a win-win situation. Either you will get the marks for that question or you will get a 0, right? But if you don't attempt that question at all, then you are anyway getting a 0 in that, right? So it is good to attempt those questions, and even if you don't know all the answers, try to understand and take a guess. Okay, so this is for every correct answer 10 points. This is just for your own little game where you can try to maintain a notepad. So here you write the name of the chapter and then the question, and then if it is correct you can give yourself 10 points. If it is not correct, you mark it here. So it is important to see these questions, the ones which you mark incorrect. It is important to go back to them later and then see where you did the mistake. Alright, this is just for your reference. For every correct answer you can give yourself 10 points. Alright, now let's start. Alright, now we have the first category of questions for nouns. It says, complete the following sentences using the correct possessive form of the noun given in the options. Let's see. We held an exhibition of dash books in our library. Okay, so here we're talking about Charles Dickens. Now Charles Dickens, his spelling is D-I-C-K-E-N-S. Dickens is his surname and his name ends in an S. So we are referring to when we have to choose the possessive form with the word ending in S, what do? We just add an apostrophe at the end of it after S. So the correct answer accordingly is B. We held an exhibition of Dickens books in our library. Alright. Here we have, our team lost the match because they did not listen to the dash advice. They did not listen to the, okay, so here we are talking about the coach. So coach ends in H, so there is no S in the end. So this one will have an apostrophe and an S. The correct answer is C. Our team lost the match because they did not listen to the coach's advice. Okay. Okay, here we have, the shop did not display dash coats in the window. Men, man, mans or men's. Okay, so here we will be referring to plural or singular. We'll be referring to plural, men, and with an apostrophe S. So men's coats. Okay, men is plural, then apostrophe and S, which means the coats belonging to men. Here, yesterday dash sister called at our house. Okay, so here we're referring to Morris. And Morris, something belonging to Morris, like the sister of Morris. So we use Morris apostrophe S. Okay, that's the last name, so Morris apostrophe S. Okay, now next, there is a dash toy shop round the corner. There is a, we're referring to children in plural. So we say children apostrophe S. There is a children's toy shop round the corner. All right. Okay, here, don't you know Pashmina shawls are made of dash wool? So first of all, here we are referring to goat, and goat singular, like in general terms, just referring to singular goat. And since we talk about possessiveness, so apostrophe S. Goat's wool. The correct answer is D. Okay, next, the neighborhood park is a mile from dash house. Okay, here we are talking about anise or anise, whatever the pronunciation is. And we're talking about the possessiveness of anise. So like from the house of anise and anise, it already ends in an S. So we will be using an apostrophe after that. Okay. So accordingly, the correct answer is anise house. C. Okay, the next one says, he parked his car in my dash garage. So here we talk about parents, and parents ends in, it's a plural word, it ends in s itself. So here, since it ends in s, so we will, to show possessiveness, we'll use an apostrophe after it. Alright, so the correct answer is B. He parked his car in my parents' garage. Alright, now here complete the following sentences with commonly used familiar nouns. Here just using common familiar nouns as per our own logic. Let's see. He is so adamant that at times it is like talking to a dash wall, talking to a stone wall, talking to a brick wall, talking to a wooden wall, or talking to a rock wall. Here the correct answer is talking to a brick wall. Now when we say we're talking to a brick wall, this actually means that you are talking to a person who is not ready to listen to you and not interested in listening to your side of the story. So this is talking to a brick wall. All right. Okay, here we have, even though age has caught up with him now, he is still always on the move, always on the take, always on the road, or always on the give. So here the correct answer is he is still always on the move. Always on the move means someone, when we say someone is always on the move, we are referring to the fact that they are always traveling, not staying in one place, just moving from one place to another, like a wanderer. Okay, that person is always on the move, and we can say always very busy as well. Okay, so age has caught up with him now, but he's still always on the move, always moving from one place to another, always very busy. Okay. Okay, next we have, he always tries to dash a quarrel with someone or the other. He always tries to A. Organize a quarrel, B. Hit a quarrel, or C. Pick up a quarrel. Now here the correct answer is C. Pick up a quarrel. He always tries to pick up a quarrel with someone or the other. It means that this person really likes to, argue and is constantly looking for reasons to fight. That's what we mean by pick up a quarrel. Alright. So with this we finish off with the questions on nouns. Just go through these concepts go through the concepts briefly, and I hope you will be able to answer all the questions very easily. This is probably one of the easiest topics in your class. Alright, so
that's all for our class on nouns. I hope you have understood the basic idea of various categories as well as the nominalization and the various concepts that we discussed. So make sure that you revise these. Keep revising and keep learning. I will see you the next time. Thank you for watching.